Hi, hello. Once again, I'm back with my part 2 video all about capacitors. This video will be pretty enough for you to learn and understand each and everything about capacitors, various types of capacitor and derivation of capacitance in each type. Also the classification of capacitor according to the dielectric used, and also derivation for energy stored as well as energy density. Last but not the least, how to read the value of a capacitor. If you find my video useful, please do like and subscribe. Thank you. What is a capacitor? After resistors, they are the second most used passive electronic component in order to store electric charge, and they are formed by placing two parallel plate metal conductors separated by an insulating material called dielectric, which does not conduct electricity. And this dielectric can be mica, paper, air, ceramic, glass, etc. The equation for charge stored in a capacitor can be defined as Q equal to C into V, where C is the capacitance which is measured in farad and Q is the charge measured in coulomb, and V is the voltage between two parallel plates which is measured in volt. Since this farad is a big unit, usually capacitance are measured in microfarad, picofarad, nanofarad. And the ability of capacitor to store charge is known as capacitance. Next, we will find out the equation for capacitance when capacitors are connected in series and parallel connection. First, we will discuss about series connection. Let us consider C1, C2, C3 up to Cn as 1 to n capacitors connected in series. So, the capacitance will be equal to 1 by C1 plus 1 by C2 plus 1 by C3 plus etc. up to 1 by Cn. Next, what will happen to the capacitance equation when they are connected in parallel? Let us consider C1, C2, C3 up to Cn as the capacitors connected in parallel. So, C total equal to C1 plus C2 plus C3 up to Cn. Our next topic is all about charging as well as discharging of capacitors. First, we will discuss about how charging takes place in a capacitor. Before the application of voltage, the two conducting plates are electrically neutral, which means they will have equal amount of positive as well as negative charges. But once voltage is applied, from the top plate, electrons which are negatively charged gets attracted towards the positive terminal of battery, and through the negative terminal of battery, electrons are pushed towards the bottom plate of capacitor. And because of the dielectric present in between the parallel plates, the electrons collected in the bottom plate is not able to cross the barrier. So the electrons will get accumulated or collected at the bottom plate, and top plate will have shortage of electrons and bottom plate will have excess of electrons. And because of the shortage of electrons in the top plate will get positively charged, and while the bottom plate will get negatively charged because the bottom plate have excess of electrons, so they will get negatively charged. And because of these charged particles, potential difference will get developed across the two plates. And building of charges across the two plates will continue till the point when the potential difference developed, which is also called as developed voltage, becomes equal to the voltage that we supply, which is called supplied voltage. And because of the potential difference, electric field will get developed across the two plates. And thus, in this way, capacitor stores energy in the form of electric field. So, the equation for electric field can be written as V divided by D. V is the potential difference and D is the distance between the two parallel plates. Even if we remove the voltage applied, the charge developed will remain as it is in between the two plates. For a given voltage, suppose let us take it as 2 volt. If we want to store more charge, then we need to select the capacitor accordingly, which is having large capacitance value. Also, there is another option. In order to store more charge across the capacitor, we need to apply more voltage across the capacitor. But we cannot increase the voltage indefinitely, because for every capacitor there will be a maximum voltage rating, which is noted in the capacitor. If the voltage applied across the capacitor exceeds that maximum rated voltage, which is noted in the capacitor, dielectric breakdown happens in the capacitor. So, the voltage applied across capacitor should always be less than maximum rating of capacitor. Next, we will discuss about how discharging takes place in a capacitor. Here, bulb is given in the form of load. That is, load in the form of bulb is connected to the conductive path. And whenever we turn on the switch, electrons accumulated in the bottom plate gets attracted towards the top plate. In this way, current flow occurs through the conductive path. And because of the current flow, bulb will glow. This continues when both plate becomes electrically neutral, which means positive as well as negative ions becomes equal. When they becomes electrically neutral, there will be no current flow. That is, there will be no flow of electrons and bulb gets turned off. In this way, charge developed across the capacitor gets discharged through the conductive path, and this phenomenon is known as discharging of capacitor. Next, we will discuss about the types of capacitors. There are mainly 3 important types of capacitors. First one is parallel plate capacitor, second one is spherical capacitor, and third one is cylindrical capacitors. First, we will discuss about the important type of capacitor, that is parallel plate capacitor. There are 2 metallic plates which are separated by a distance d, and the plate A is connected with a positive charge, that is plus Q. When positive charge is imparted to plate A, it uniformly distributes over the surface A, and due to induction, negative charge is induced on the inner part of plate B. And also due to the same reason, that is due to induction, positive charge is induced at the outer surface of plate B. Always remember that both plates have same area. So if there are 5 positive charges, so the induced charge will also be same, that is 5. And this plate B is earth, so the number of free electrons which are negatively charged coming from the earth neutralize this positive charge which is created on the outer surface of plate B due to induction. So the plate B will have only this charge, that is negative charge, which is created on the inner surface, because when it is earth, the electrons neutralize this outer surface charge, that is positive charge. So plate B will have only the inner surface charge, that is negative charge. So the plate A will have positive charge on the inner surface and plate B will have negative charge on the inner surface. And there will be electric field due to these charges. And this electric field is directed from the positive plate A towards the negative plate B. Let us consider E1 as the electric field because of positive charge, which can be written as E1 equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0 K, and E2 as the electric field due to negative charge, which is equal to sigma by 2 epsilon 0 K, and sigma is the surface charge density, which can be written as charge per unit area, which is equal to Q by A. In order to find out the total electric field due to both charges, that is positive as well as negative, we can add up E1 and E2. So total electric field E equal to sigma by epsilon 0 K. That is 1 by 2 becomes 1. So sigma by epsilon 0 K. Substituting the equation for sigma, that is Q by A divided by epsilon 0 K, which is equal to Q by A epsilon 0 K, where Q is the charge, A is the area of plate, epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space, and K is the dielectric constant. In order to get the equation for the capacitance, we need to find out the potential difference between plates A and B. We already learned this equation, that is electric field is equal to potential difference divided by distance between the two parallel plates, V by D. From this, V can be written as V equal to E into D. We already got the equation for E, that is Q by A epsilon 0 K into D is equal to V. V equal to QD by A epsilon 0 K. We know that charge stored in a capacitor Q equal to C into V. From this equation, C equal to Q by V, which is equal to Q by, substituting the value for V, QD by A epsilon 0 K equal to A epsilon 0 K by D. This is the equation for capacitance in parallel plate capacitor. If K is approximately 1, that is if we are considering the insulator, that is dielectric between the plates as free space, K is approximately 1. So C becomes epsilon 0 A by D. For different other materials, K value is different. Here, capacitance is directly proportional to area of plates and indirectly proportional to distance between the plates, and also depending on epsilon 0, that is permittivity of free space, which can be written as 8.85 into 10 raised to minus 12 coulomb square per Newton meter square. And K value is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. This is the equation of capacitance in parallel plate capacitor. This equation is very important. That is C equal to K epsilon 0 A by D. Next, we will discuss about the second type of capacitor, that is spherical capacitor. Let us consider two spheres and radius of first sphere is R1 and radius of outer sphere is R2. Suppose if we are giving equal and opposite charges, that is charge of inner sphere is plus Q and charge on the outer sphere is minus Q. Electric field can be drawn from positive sphere towards the negative sphere, that is inner sphere towards the outer sphere. And we know that electric field due to the negatively charged sphere, that is due to the outer sphere, is almost zero. So we are only considering the electric field due to the inner sphere. E can be written as KQ by R square at any distance R. And also the potential of negatively charged sphere, that is outer sphere, is very less and potential of inner sphere is more. So we can write the potential V equal to, potential difference V equal to V2 minus V1. And potential of the outer sphere is almost zero, that is very less, it is negligible. So we can be written as minus integral R2 to R1 E dot dr, which is equal to minus integral R2 to R1 E is nothing but KQ by R square into dr, which is equal to, taking constant outside, minus KQ integral of 1 by R square is nothing but 1 by x raised to n equal to x raised to minus n equal to x raised to minus n plus 1 divided by minus n plus 1. So 1 by R square can be written as minus, that is R raised to minus 2 equal to R raised to minus 2 plus 1 by minus 2 plus 1, which is equal to minus 1 by R. Minus 1 by R, R2 to R1. So V equal to minus KQ into minus 1 by R, R2 to R1. In order to bring it up, we can interchange the upper limit and lower limit, that is KQ into R2 minus R1 by R1 R2. Next we will substitute the value of K, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. Q into R2 minus R1 divided by R1 R2, 4 pi epsilon 0. And C is nothing but Q by V. From this equation we know that C equal to Q by V. That is, substituting the value for V, Q by Q R2 minus R1, R1 R2, 4 pi epsilon 0. That is C equal to 4 pi epsilon 0 R1 R2 by R2 minus R1. This is the equation of capacitance in spherical capacitor. Let us assume R1 R2 as very large, that is tending to infinity, and consider R2 minus R1 equal to D and R1 is approximately equal to R2. That is C becomes 4 pi epsilon 0. R1 R2 are approximately equal, so R square by R2 minus R1 is nothing but D, which becomes epsilon 0 A by D, that is 4 pi R square is the surface area of sphere. So we can write it as 4 pi R square equal to A epsilon 0 by D, which is equal to C equal to epsilon 0 A by D. Same as that of parallel plate capacitor. If we consider infinite sphere, capacitance value becomes same as that of parallel plate capacitor. Next is all about the third type of capacitor, that is cylindrical capacitor. Let us consider two cylinders, that is inner cylinder and outer cylinder, and R1 as the radius of inner cylinder and R2 as the radius of outer cylinder, and positive charge plus Q is given to the inner cylinder and negative charge minus Q is given to the outer cylinder. And also the electric field is from the positive cylinder, that is inner cylinder, towards the negatively charged outer cylinder. Let us consider this inner cylindrical surface as an infinite wire. As we know, there will be no electric field due to the outer cylindrical surface, which is negatively charged. So, the electric field due to infinite wire can be written as minus integral 2k lambda by r dr. Lambda can be written as charge per unit length, that is Q by L. So, E becomes minus integral 2k Q by L dr by r. We can take the constants outside and substituting the value of k, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0. So, 2 into 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 becomes 1 by 2 pi epsilon 0. That is minus Q by L 2 pi epsilon 0 integral R2 to R1 dr by r. Integral 1 by r dr is nothing but ln r R2 to R1. So, electric field is nothing but potential difference delta V equal to, in order to neglect this negative sign, we can invert the upper limit and lower limit, Q by 2 pi epsilon 0 L ln R2 by R1. C is nothing but, we know that charge stored in a capacitor can be written as Q equal to C into V. C equal to Q by potential difference, that is delta V. Substituting the value for delta V, Q by 2 pi epsilon 0 L ln R2 by R1 equal to 2 pi epsilon 0 L divided by ln R2 by R1. So, the capacitance of cylindrical capacitor is 2 pi epsilon 0 L divided by ln R2 by R1, where L is the length of cylinder, R1, R2 is the radius of cylinder, epsilon 0 is the permittivity of free space. So, the capacitance of cylindrical capacitor depends on all the geometrical parameters. Next is the derivation of energy stored in a capacitor. Energy stored is nothing but the work done. Work done in moving a charge dq from one plate to another plate, and how much work done is called energy stored, and work done dW can be written as potential into charge, that is V into dq. We know this equation Q equal to C into V, so V can be written as Q by C, dW equal to Q by C dq. So, energy stored in a capacitor can be found out by integrating both sides, that is integral 0 to U dW equal to integral, initial charge can be taken as 0 and final charge can be taken as Q, 0 to Q, Q by C dq. That is integral of a constant, that is dW is equal to W, 0 to U equal to, taking constant outside, 1 by C integral 0 to Q, Q dq. Integral of Q is nothing but x raised to n dx equal to x raised to n plus 1 by n plus 1. So, Q raised to 1 integral is Q square by 2. So, U, that is upper limit minus lower limit, U minus 0 equal to 1 by C, q square by 2, 0 to q. That is 1 by c, upper limit, substituting upper limit and lower limit, q square by 2 minus 0. So u becomes 1 by 2c q square. This is the energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. As we know, q equal to c into v, substituting the value for q. That is 1 by 2c, q is cv, square means cv whole square, which becomes u equal to 1 by 2, c get cancelled. So 1 by 2 cv square. So the energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor can also be written as u equal to 1 by 2 cv square. Next, we know that C can be written as, from this equation q equal to cv, C can be written as q by v. That is u equal to half q by v into v square. That is u equal to 1 by 2 qv. So energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor can also be written as u equal to 1 by 2 qv. All these three equations represent the energy stored in a parallel plate capacitor. That is, first equation is u equal to 1 by 2c q square. Also it can be written as 1 by 2 cv square. Also u equal to 1 by 2 qv. Next, we will derive the equation for energy density. Energy density is nothing but amount of electrical energy stored per unit volume. That is, energy density is equal to U by V, energy stored per unit volume. We already derived the equation for energy stored. We derived three equations for energy stored. Here we are considering the second equation, that is half CV square by volume of parallel plate capacitor is nothing but area into distance between the two plates. So half CV square divided by A into D. C is nothing but capacitance of parallel plate capacitor that we already derived. That is half epsilon 0 A by D into V square by A into D. So U, energy density, becomes half epsilon 0. V by dd becomes D square. V by D whole square equal to half epsilon 0, which can be written as E equal to potential difference divided by distance between plates. So this is the electric field. V by D is electric field. V by D whole square means E square. So energy density becomes 1 by 2 epsilon 0 E square. Next is all about the types of capacitors based on the dielectric used in between the two parallel plates. So the capacitors can be classified mainly into two types based on the dielectric used, that is fixed capacitor and variable capacitor. And this fixed capacitor is again classified into two types. One is polarized fixed capacitor. Second one is non-polarized fixed capacitor. This is the symbol for polarized capacitor with positive as well as negative terminal. This is the symbol for non-polarized fixed capacitor, and this is the symbol for variable capacitor. This polarized fixed capacitor is again subclassified into two types. One is electrolytic capacitor and second one is supercapacitor. This electrolytic capacitor is again subcategorized into three types. One is aluminum capacitor, second one is tantalum capacitor, and third one is niobium capacitor. And this supercapacitor is classified into two types mainly, that is electrostatic double layer capacitor and second one is pseudo capacitors. And the non-polarized fixed capacitor is classified into four types. One is ceramic capacitor, second one is film capacitor, third one is mica capacitor, and fourth one is glass capacitor. And this film capacitor is again categorized into two types. One is plastic film capacitor and second one is paper film capacitor. And the second type of capacitor, that is variable capacitor, is classified into two types mainly. One is trimmer capacitor and second one is tuning capacitor. What is a polarized capacitor? This is a symbol for polarized capacitor. Polarized capacitor will have positive as well as negative terminals. And this positive terminal should be connected in the correct way. That is, positive terminal of the capacitor goes to the positive terminal of circuit and negative terminal of the capacitor goes to the negative terminal of the circuit. Connecting the other way can damage them or result in an explosion. Now let us discuss in detail about the types of fixed non-polarized capacitor. First type is ceramic capacitor. There will be a disc of ceramic, that is ceramic disc will be there, which act as a dielectric, and there will be electrodes on both sides, and this is encapsulated with a protective coating. There will be a ceramic disc and electrodes on both sides, and this will be encapsulated with protective coating. And a 3-digit number will be coded inside the body to identify the capacitance value, like 103, 102, like that. A 3-digit number is coded inside the body to identify its capacitance value. Features of ceramic capacitor are, they are smaller in size, and dielectric used are either porcelain or ceramic disc, and capacitance ranges from few picofarad to 0.1 microfarad. Picofarad means 10 raised to minus 12 and micro means 10 raised to minus 6. The second classification of fixed non-polarized capacitor is film capacitor. They are the most commonly available non-polarized capacitor. As I said, they are again classified into two types. One is plastic film capacitor, second one is paper film capacitor. What is a plastic film capacitor? Capacitor which uses polyester, polystyrene, polypropylene, polycarbonate, etc. as dielectric or insulator is called plastic film capacitor. They are available within capacitance range from 100 picofarad to 10 microfarad. They can operate well in high temperature. Also, they have very long life. And their applications are power amplifiers. They are used in power amplifiers, TV circuits, etc. since they have high operating voltage. Next is about paper capacitors. They are made either by taking, that is, there will be 2 or more aluminium sheets and a waxed paper is placed in between these sheets, and this waxed paper acts as dielectric or insulator, and this metal sheets act as electrode. This is how paper capacitors are made. Their features are, they have very low capacitance value, that is nanofarad to 50 microfarad. They have high working voltage and current, and they usually have high leakage rates. Third type of fixed non-polarized capacitor is mica capacitor. Here mica is used as the dielectric and silver plates is used as the electrode. and these silver metals are stacked one above the other, and this dielectric, that is mica, is placed in between the silver plates. Their features are they have very low tolerance value, low capacitance range, they can withstand high volume and temperature. Fourth type is glass capacitors. Here glass acts as dielectric and they are used when ultimate performance is required and they have very high operating temperature. Next, we will discuss about the types of polarized capacitor. There are mainly two types, electrolytic capacitor and supercapacitors. And what is an electrolytic capacitor? They are used when large capacitance values are required, that is greater than 1 microfarad. They are mainly classified into three types, aluminum capacitor, second one is tantalum capacitor, and third one is niobium capacitor. What is an aluminum capacitor? They are formed by using two thin aluminum films, out of which one is covered with a thin oxide coating, and in between the two aluminum films an electrolytic paper is kept, and the two aluminum films are wound together to form electrolytic capacitor. Their features are good availability of raw material, that is aluminum. They have very high capacitance and voltage ranges, and there is a possibility for explosion if wrong polarity is connected, that is positive terminal of the capacitor should be connected to positive terminal of battery and negative terminal of the capacitor should be connected to the negative terminal of battery. If wrong polarity is connected, there is possibility for explosion. Second type of electrolytic capacitor is tantalum capacitor. They are similar to that of aluminum electrolytic capacitor, but they are comparatively smaller in size, and also in place of aluminum, here tantalum is used. Their features are they allow large current to pass through, they have very high voltage and capacitance range, and tantalum is not normally available. Third type of electrolytic capacitor is niobium capacitor. It is also same as that of tantalum capacitor. The only difference is tantalum is replaced by niobium. And why niobium is used? The advantages of niobium over tantalum are abundance of niobium. Compared to tantalum, abundance of niobium, and also increased dielectric thickness. Third is lightweight, and the fourth one is because of their self-arresting mechanism. That is, during local breakdown, NBO will get transformed to NBO2. That is an insulator which protects from short circuit mode. The second type of fixed polarized capacitor is supercapacitor. That is, compared to electrolytic capacitor, their capacitance range is million times higher, and they are capable to store very large amount of charge, and their capacitance range is thousands of farad, and also they have the capability to charge and discharge rapidly. That is, rapid charging or discharging capability. They enable low as well as high temperature operation. Their structure is like this, consists of two electrodes separated by an ion permeable membrane, that is a separator, and an electrolyte between the electrodes, that is positive as well as negative ions. The second type of capacitor based on dielectric used is variable capacitors. The capacitance of capacitor depends on the area of the plate as well as distance between the two parallel plates. Now let us see the principle behind variable capacitor. Consider two plates. One is moving plate and static plate, and a shaft is connected to this moving plate in order to rotate it. In this position, that is, we are not rotating this shaft. So in this position, area between two plates is almost negligible. Since capacitance is depending on area, capacitance is also negligible. In the second case, if we rotate this moving plate slightly, the cross-sectional area has increased, thus capacitance is also increased. In the third case, if we further rotate it, area becomes maximum, so the capacitance is also maximum. This is the principle behind variable capacitor. The first type of variable capacitor is tuning capacitor. They are used for continuously varying the capacitance for tuning a circuit, and they can withstand mechanical shocks or vibrations. The second type of variable capacitor is trimmer capacitor. There will be a small screw, and using a screwdriver we can vary the capacitance value. They are small size variable capacitors, and their purpose is which serve the purpose of initial calibration of equipment. That is, during servicing or manufacturing time, they are used for initial calibration of the equipment. They are comparatively cheaper and used for the variation of capacitance. And the dielectric used for variable capacitors are air, ceramic, plastic, mica, etc. Our next topic is how to read the capacitor value. First case is if we have a capacitor where it's written 220 microfarad. So the capacitance value is 220 microfarad. Second case is if a number is coded inside the capacitor. As I said in the ceramic capacitor, if a number is coded inside 3-digit number, so the first 2 digit indicates a significant digit and the third one indicates the multiplier. So significant digit 10 into third one is multiplier. So 10 raised to 3 picofarad. Pico means 10 raised to minus 12. In order to make it nanofarad, that is 10 raised to minus 9. 10 raised to minus 12 and 3 becomes 10 raised to minus 9. So 10 nanofarad. We can write it in terms of microfarad also. Micro means 10 raised to minus 6. This is 10 raised to minus 9 nano. So moving 3 decimals towards the left side, 0.010 microfarad. Let us take another example, that is if it is coded 102 inside the capacitor. So 10 into multiplier is 2. So 10 raised to 2 picofarad. This can be written in terms of nanofarad also, that is pico means 10 raised to minus 12. Minus 12 and 2 makes it 10 raised to minus 10. So in order to make it 10 raised to minus 9, moving 1 decimal towards the left side, that is 1 nanofarad. In terms of microfarad, micro means 10 raised to minus 6. Nano means 10 raised to minus 9. So we can make it in terms of micro by moving 3 decimal towards the left side, 0.001 microfarad. If it is 47, then 47 into, there is no 3 digits, so multiplier is 10 raised to 0 picofarad. It becomes 47 picofarad. If it is 475 written inside the capacitor, the capacitance value is 47 into, multiplier is 10 raised to 5 picofarad. In terms of microfarad, pico means 10 raised to minus 12. Minus 12 and 5 makes it 10 raised to minus 7. In order to make it 10 raised to minus 6, moving one decimal towards the left side, 4.7 microfarad. The third case is, if it is given inside the capacitor a combination of number and alphabet like 222J. A combination of number and alphabet, the first 2 digit indicates the same, that is significant digit. The third digit also indicates the same, multiplier. But the alphabet indicates the tolerance value of capacitor. Here is the table which represents the tolerance value for each alphabet, and the tolerance value for J alphabet is plus or minus 5%. So the capacitance value for the given capacitor 222J is, first 2 digit indicates a significant digit, that is 22 into, third one indicates a multiplier, so 10 raised to 2 picofarad with a tolerance for J plus or minus 5%. We can write it in terms of nanofarad, that is pico means 10 raised to minus 12. Minus 12 and 2 makes it 10 raised to minus 10. In order to make it 10 raised to minus 9, moving one decimal towards the left side, that is 2.2 nanofarad with a tolerance of plus or minus 5%.